Namaste, angels. This is the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday, the 20th of September, through Saturday to come the 26th of September, beginning with the dice and 29, which is all about spiritual partnership. Stay in bed. And yes, Spirit says spend money, but also I was made to notice the 29 again. So maybe spending money on a spiritual partnership. That doesn't necessarily mean romance. It could be a business partnership, make an investment, some other partnership, partnering, maybe with family members, close friends. But it may be romantic. And maybe you're meant to spend money on dinner, with romantic dinner also showing up. And yes, positive answers to proposals and maybe applications and things like that this week. Maybe because Juno enters Scorpio, and that's like soulmate energy. But we'll talk more about that. Those of you who want to stick around at the end when I do what's going on this week. I've gotten used to doing it at the end, I guess. I forget to do it at the start now. So we're gonna get into the reading, beginning with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, which is a card that says we have a lot to be thankful for. Just blessings upon blessings, and a lot to come. But it's not going to come by itself. So if we're wanting to manifest things, we're going to have to put some effort and some work into them. That's for general energy. That's for, in terms of work, you're going to have to put your best foot forward. If you're applying for a job, you're going to have to put what's on the resume that of what you're capable, that's going to attract a potential employer or recruiter or something. In your relationships, you want them to work out, you want communication to be good. It's not just going to happen. You have to put some effort into it. Also, this warns against, it's saying there's a lot, again, going on in your life that's good. So don't get too comfortable, right? Don't get, yes, relax, take some time to yourself. And Nine of Pentacles on its own, especially upright, can be about doing just that, spending time with yourself, getting to know and like and love yourself a little bit more. But in reverse, it says, again, don't get too comfortable, don't do too much relaxing to the point of you're not handling the business that you need to. The card behind it is upright, but it is the Seven of Swords. So don't let time get away from you. Don't let your time be stolen, that you need to put effort into what you're doing. Opening now to the Four of Swords. So this is also an indication that maybe there's been some rest, recovery, restoration. Somebody needed a break, was forced into a break, maybe because of some sort of heartache or something, or perhaps actual surgery, maybe more than one surgery, or somehow involving the number three. To maybe recently, on the third or something. But what this card also always says to me when I look at it, the different cards in different decks, but in this particular deck, the way that this one sword is sort of at the top in this gold inlay, to me, it's very Ace of Swords-ish. And it's so, okay, so I'm over this. I'm beyond this pain or separation or betrayal or whatever it was, and now it's time for me to pick up my sword and get back to business. Four of Swords in reverse. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse as well. Let's bring action. So maybe some long overdue action while you were resting. Something was building up. A bill, has been sitting around, or some situation that you needed to pay attention to involving finances has not gotten attention, but it's okay. You're going to find time to do it, or you can find time to do it, to take the action that you need to. It's not too late, but you're going to have to do it. It goes along with that Nine of Pentacles in reverse. And it may involve a large corporation or a government agency or something. Maybe you never did your taxes. Remember, the date was extended because of COVID, but maybe you never got around to it at all. Maybe you forgot or something like that. Then we see he's upright. And it would mean like there's some sort of long time coming, or something that's been coming slow and steady, involving money or assets or whatever to you, and or an earth sign, of course, a Taurus, Virgo, a Capricorn, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Of course, we are currently in Virgo season, so that, that's very possible for it to be significant to somebody involving a Virgo. Then opening to the Three of Pentacles, which is a card of work and abundance that's earned, through work and labor and effort. Can also be about a very pleasant reunion with someone or something from your past. They may be moving on from the time when you were without it or them. I'll do one more. All right, two more. The Five of Swords. This could be with the why there was separation or betrayal or something. There was, oh, look at this. See, when I get greedy, there was maybe some sort of conflict, and you see there's the Three Swords. Now, for some, again, this can have something to do with a bill, or here's the Three Swords. Here's two on the ground, but here's one by itself, like that Ace of Swords. Maybe for some it had to do with something financial, a bill, an asset, and there was discrepancy, and you've been fighting it for a long time. Maybe you had to dispute some charges or whatever on your card, something like that. Very possible for somebody. And again, the Ace of Swords shows up. There is truth, there is reconciliation, there is recovery, there is a fixing of whatever the situation is, there is justice, and then you move beyond any difficulty. Okay, with the Six of Swords showing up, it means we're moving into calmer, stiller waters. That weight that we had on our shoulders is being lifted. The worst is behind us, and, like full steam ahead, moving toward more positivity. Why? Maybe because you listened to your intuition. Queen of Swords upright means our intuition, and other information that comes to us. Queen of Swords is no dummy, right? She's smart too. She's wise. In addition to being psychic and all these things. So all of these traits of hers that are so positive, that allow her to come into information and to use it to her best ability, she's putting them to use. Okay, and her her information, her intuition, gut feelings, all of that is serving her very well. This is also someone who is able to use what she's learned like all her life. Look back on experiences, take the lessons from them, and put them to use now too. Again, if you've been fighting something, some sort of bill or something like that for a long time, then you've had some different instances, maybe, and evidence and things mounting, building up in your favor that you're supposed to be using now this week against, again, this large corporation or government agency or something. I could just be speaking to a couple of people, maybe not everybody that'll see the reading, but this is for somebody. And or a Queen of Swords, a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes is significant to you, or will be significant to your week. The Queen of Swords is also good at detaching from what does not serve her. So she's like equally as good as she is in using what does serve her to her best ability, and she's as good in cutting off what doesn't serve her. That she's also known as the Feng Shui Queen. Some people may be taking care of something involving the home and clearing out energy blockages, maybe in a very literal way, getting rid of clutter or something like that. And if this is an actual Queen of Swords in your life, she may in fact be specifically a Gemini, with the Lovers being the next card. It is upside down or in reverse, as they say. Lovers in reverse is one of those cards that's similar to, one of those that means pretty much the same thing upright, like the, what else is like that? The Tower, it just means like less impact, but it's kind of like the same card. Death, the Star, Again, less impact, but it's kind of like the same card. Same thing with the Lovers. It can involve delay. So it can mean that there's delay right now, or there's been delay. Like I said, there's been separation maybe between romantic partners, or you've been separated from someone or something in your life that is now requiring some sort of action and decision, perhaps from you. And then on that note, we have the Four of Swords in reverse showing up again behind the Lovers. Four of Swords can be about a decision. And again, it's about rest and recovery and getting your strength back so that you can battle the world. Next card is Page of Cups, also in reverse. So I said that was the last one. And now, Eight of Cups back. I'm going to cut into 6 for old time's sake. And speaking of the star, there it is, upright. So full impact. Major Arcana card, the star, 17, the star, represents the sign of Aquarius most directly. It is about our prayers being answered, our wishes being granted, our dreams coming true. So again, maybe you coming out on top of some sort of situation, even though you were battling an entity much larger than yourself. Or this can be about communication, maybe with somebody you've been wanting to get in touch with, or maybe with new people that you don't know through some sort of means involving technology, like online dating or Skype or FaceTime or something like that. And the card next to it is the Hanged Man, upright. Hanged Man can be about letting go. Whether that is in a tangible sense, something that we're letting go, or like in a spiritual sense, letting go of like belief systems and ideologies and things like that. Can be about decision making too, and because you just feel like right now you're in a hanging pattern, something's hanging in the balance and you're in limbo. And so in the meantime, you might as well do some thinking and look for some enlightenment. See all the light around his head? That's when he's in reverse, he's been enlightened. All right, next card is the Two of Wands upright. So I'm going to get the stands now and pull out 4 for us. 4 cards, that is, to focus on for the week. All right, that should give us, I'll check again to make sure that everything is in view in a second. So this card would be the card most directly representing us, like in a general sense for the week, us all, and it is Major Arcana card 9, the Hermit. Right after I mention perhaps something spiritual is going on, here comes the Hermit, right? Here, the Hermit most directly represents the sign of Virgo, but it is a very spiritual card. The next card will be surrounding energy, close friends, family members, maybe co-workers. Could be some of our own energy as well. And it is the 5 of Wands, upright. The next card is work and finance, and it is the 3 of Wands in reverse. And lastly, love and relationship. And it's the Ace of Pentacles upright. Very beautiful. All right. It looks like everything is indeed in frame. I'm just going to move this over just a bit. Being a perfectionist. Okay. All right, so beginning again with our overall energy, the star. Again, it represents the sign of Aquarius most directly. And Aquarius is the sign of freedom and humanitarianism. So this can also be a very spiritual card. I think for some of us, this is a spiritual week. And that's what the cards are going to be talking about to us. Different messages for different people. So, again, Aquarius is all about freedom and humanitarianism. And 29 can be about that too. Again, it's about spiritual partnerships, but spiritual partnerships doing something often toward humanity, like to serving a higher purpose. You know, that's what spiritual partnerships are about. What are you getting together for? Like our coming together, even if it's romantically, if we're soulmates, if we're twin flames, right? Some way is meant to help the greater good. As individuals, it can be about feeling free, feeling at one with creation, or maybe even with the creator, just feeling very God-like, not in an arrogant sense, but in a spiritual sense of connection, God or goddess-like, right? It can be about feeling inspired and hopeful about the future, and, more so than you have in a while. Confident that your needs are going to be met, whether they're emotional, financial, both, all of the above, every other kind of need, all these things are going to be met, that nothing, can be taken for granted, of course. Again, it may require some work on your part, because even if you're thinking of it in terms of it's about prayers being answered, well, people who believe in prayer and or like things like the Bible and stuff know that prayer without works is dead, is what the Bible says, what scriptures say. If you look at it in terms of manifestation and law of attraction, then you also know that there's action to be taken from you. What's that action? The focused intention being held on whatever it is you're trying to manifest. So again, we can't take this for granted. We may have to do some work, or we will have to do some work in some form, take some action on, of our own. But we should be confident, and that's what the star is saying. And it means good things in every area of our life. Our finances, our work, if we're looking for work, if we're looking for love, if we have love, deepening and all that. And again, maybe through online dating, maybe how you end up meeting somebody. All right, so moving on to Major Arcana card 9, the Hermit. Again, and most directly represents the sign of Virgo. And this too is a very spiritual card, as I mentioned, and can often have to do with large organizations or corporations, institutions, businesses, like I was mentioning before too earlier in the reading. So everything from like the bank to your church. So it may be tied to what I was picking up before as I was shuffling, or for somebody else have a different meaning. It also can have meaning like spiritual meaning if you're an atheist. You don't believe necessarily in any kind of church or religion, but yourself. And maybe getting back to this too, and that feeling of being more godlike, like the powers from within you. Whatever spirit or spirituality means to you, whatever form the word takes. Sometimes for people it can be tied to their emotions. Sometimes it can be to practices that they otherwise would see as religious. Whatever it means to you, it's fine. And that could be why the Hermit is showing up for you here as an individual. Also, you may be trying to you could also really be trying hard to figure out like what the truth is. And this is taking me back to that Ace of Swords we kept seeing, right? The Ace of Swords is about getting to the truth of a matter. It's about justice. It's about victory. So definitely in looking at the Hermit, we have to consider this too. And you may not feel like you know where to go to look for this. Where is the truth? Especially if you're a Virgo, an earth sign. You may have been in, other times in your life more focused on work and or finances and trying to be successful and and grounded. Those things are normal for an earth sign. So now being redirected to spirituality sort of feels like, where am I? What am I? Right? Who am I? If there's some question you're trying to answer, or about someone or some matter or something, this is also telling us that we don't necessarily have to feel like we have to do it on our own, that we can seek help or ask for help, gain different perspectives, information, research, all these sorts of things to arrive at the truth. Contrarily, we can need some alone time. This is also a card of introspection, going within to find the answers. Maybe that's what we need to do. Learning more about ourselves, to understand ourselves better, and where we feel we're going in life, where our spirit is taking us, where our emotions and intuition and soul seems to be guiding us. And we might need to spend some time by ourselves to figure that out. In terms of work, we're probably nearing a point in our work where success and recognition and award and reward and all this stuff is like well within our grasp, well within our reach. And again, we got to do our part in remaining organized and productive and putting our best foot forward and making sure that our skills and everything is in front, right out in front where everybody can see it. Love and relationship, very possible that a relationship from the past will be rekindled. I'm laughing because we also saw the Three of Pentacles a few moments ago, where I said that someone or something from our past, it talks about happy reunions, being reunited with someone or something from your past. That's very positive and happy for you. So now seeing the Hermit, for some of you, that may be your ex. Normally, I'd say you got to think about whether you're interested in that. But again, in connection to the Three of Pentacles, it is a positive reunion. It is a happy reunion that you likely do want, that maybe even that you prayed for, wished for, hoped for. Maybe specifically with a Virgo or other earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn, with the Ace of Pentacles also representing our love and relationship this week. In finances, though, may be contrary to the dice that suggest we should spend money, or perhaps in consideration of that, the Hermit is a more conservative sort of energy in their spending. And that also, again, takes me to that thought of earth signs in general, Virgo, of course, included, very often focused on work, focused on success, focused on money, focused on assets, a home, stability, security, all positive, good things. But maybe this time with this energy, not so much. That's not your money's not really your priority this week. So you might not need to even be said, to be told not to, be too risky this week. You're not really your mind's not there. Your mind is more on, again, truth, spirituality, introspection, just getting to the root of something and figuring out like where you belong in the world at this point. And lastly, spirituality specifically, this card talks about the fact that we may end up mentoring somebody or being mentored by another, finding some sort of teacher, even if this person is not setting out to be our teacher and we're not setting out to seek to have them be our teacher. It could be a romantic interest, a mate. I love a man I can learn something from. If I can, I'm kind of like not interested. I'm a Gemini, so we lose our interest if you don't hold it. But a man that can teach me something or that does teach me something, he tends to hold my attention. And that doesn't necessarily mean like that he has to be more intelligent than me, in terms of being book smart or whatever. Like he can have his intelligence, his smarts, they could be street smarts, they could be common sense, whatever. And maybe we're equally yoked and equally matched in terms of, our street smarts, our intelligence or whatever. But if I can learn something, you got me. So we can learn something sometimes even from our mates, from our family members or whatever. And so teacher can mean that too in this regard. All right, so moving on to the Five of Wands. I won't spend nearly as much time on this one. Again, this is surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers perhaps. The Five of Wands for me, if it's not being about one being conflicted, which it might be this time, again, we might need to do some introspection because we are conflicted about something. Then if it's not about that, though, it tends to be about close friends and their family, some sort of conflict with them or something going on at work. If it's not conflict at work, then it's some sort of competition at work. Maybe against other people, against another team or something. You've got a group project, especially looking at the Three of Wands here in the work and finance position. Maybe we're on some sort of collaboration, but we have to, beat out another, bidder or something like that. We may have a lot of suitors. Our love interest may have a lot of suitors, so it could be like people are fighting over us or we're fighting over somebody, even if we physically aren't. There's competition for our love interest or our mate, or there's competition for us and somebody else is feeling like they're having to fight for our attention or something like that. All those are possibilities. So in all of these areas, what the card says in the most general sense is that we need to have confidence and just like believe in ourselves and know that, if we have faith, or we should have faith that we'll end up like in the right place, that everything's going to fall into place. Everything happens for a reason. And so we'll end up in the place that we belong, right? And things will go as they're meant for us. It needs to be the belief that we hold on to. This can really be a good time for a career change altogether, if that's what somebody is thinking too, in terms of work. And that's going to bring me right into the Three of Wands in reverse. Because this can totally be about important steps and maybe even leaps and bounds with regard to our work or our career. Maybe even trying to start our own business, or again, work on some sort of collaboration or project. It's important to cooperate with others when we see the Three of Wands in reverse like this, and to, again, put our best foot forward. Let our talents be very obvious to other people. Let our traits shine forth. Let our work speak for us. Specific to finances, it's a positive card. If things haven't already begun to go much better for you and to look up financially, they will very soon. This uptick, however, is very likely tied to some sort of collaboration or cooperation with others. So again, don't try to do it all by yourself, especially if you're involved in something like that. If a group project or something, don't try to, it's not going to help you to try to be slick and do it by yourself and leave other people out. It comes about best for you and in a positive sense if it's done with other people. If you have questions or whatever, then also, seek some sort of advisor. And last but not least, the Ace of Pentacles, love and relationship. Again, we may be actually having a relationship or entering a relationship with an earth sign, maybe most specifically a Virgo. Or this energy is brought to us this week because of the connection between Juno and Pluto, with Juno entering Scorpio. And then that is maybe a soulmate connection for you. In either case, it's meant to be very abundant and successful, this relationship. It is rich. You are worthy of it. You are deserving of one another. Okay, it's a very positive coupling. Also, for committed relationships, talking about traditional tarot practice, this is saying that your relationship is likely to grow, right? To grow to like how finances grow and stuff like that, right? To new, like, bigger and better heights. And if you have been feeling disconnected, or maybe we're literally disconnected and thinking about the Four of Swords that we spent so much time on, all right, that's about potentially separation and betrayal and hurt and breakup and things like that, recovering from those kind of situations. So if you were in separation or something, this can be about reconnection. And again, with the Hermit and the Ace of Pentacles being sort of like bookends, this is definitely a card for some of rekindling a relationship from your past. So it could be literally about reconnecting with somebody in that regard too. And again, it being a very positive reconnection for you, reuniting for you. And it's also a really great time, if you're single, to get out and to meet people, because something could very easily start, that's promising of an abundant life and love life for you. So, like, be prepared for that. If you're not really ready for that kind of whole thing, then know that that's a possibility, and just be honest with people about what it is you are looking for. Think positively and have fun. On that note, let's do our advice, and then I'm going to get to what's going on this week, in terms of the celestial energy and the theological calendar. So with these two decks, we're starting out with the Ten of Wands. And that could mean that we're coming off with some sort of like a feeling of the weight of the world's been on our shoulders. Everybody who needs something or wants something that we know comes to us. And to whom do we go? Like, there's nowhere for me to go. Maybe that's another reason for the Hermit. Everybody relies on me. I have nobody to rely on at the end of the day. Or it could be like, how come we're not sharing the load, sharing the work? Maybe that's why there's a conflict, right? This is half of the Ten of Wands, is the 5. So people around us, our close friends, our family members, our co-workers, maybe not doing their part. And that's why this Ten of Wands is showing up. But again, we're on the heels of it. This will be a passing energy. The next card is much more positive. It's the Ace of Wands, a fresh start. You're working far too hard, and the stress will soon become too much. Reach out for help from others and take some time to play and to enjoy life. So also, yes, we got to do that. We got to take time to be social. If all work and no play is what we're doing, because that makes Jack a dull boy, Jill a dull girl. We don't want to be dull, right? We don't want to be lame. All right. So just getting these mixed up again. I do shuffle them before I start, but I like to do a little bit in front of you guys too. I had stopped for, I used to shuffle every single deck that I used live. And then in the interest of time, I stopped for a while. Page of Swords just flipped over. He is logical, honest, impulsive, and curious. Challenging information, delays or changes to plans, and truth delivered without tact. Could be something, we could come into some sort of information this week, or something on which we're waiting, or some information maybe specifically on which we're waiting might be delayed. And or a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes may be particularly significant to us. So I had stopped in the interest of time for a while, but there's just so many YouTube readers now, and most of those that like faking the funk, pretending to shuffle, or keeping cards underneath the desk, or having a spread already on the table when you get there, and maybe they listened to somebody else's reading and laid it out perfectly just to tell you, oh, it's going to be this and going to be this, and it sounds good and it looks good, but they don't really know what they're talking about. I know people that, when I say pretending to shuffle, like one of the things that some of them will hold their cards a certain way, so it's like a sleight of hand. It looks like as if they're mixing them up, but they're keeping them all upright. Or when they lay them down, they'll lay them down all upright because they can't read reversals, and maybe they can't read period. And they'll just give you some quick 5-minute reading of stuff that, it doesn't take much tarot knowledge or intuition to know. So to not be mixed up with those, I like to shuffle. Speaking of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Major Arcana card 1, the Magician, is now an overall energy, represents most directly the sign of Gemini, and is about manifestation, right? Law of attraction, prayers, dreams, goals, reaching them, attracting what we want in our life toward us by having all the resources, all the ability, all the traits, whatever we need to do it, we have it. You are ready. You have the resources and the ability to manifest them. Life is magical. Next card is in reverse, but it's the Ace of Wands that I talked about. What I said, doesn't matter if there's, a little situation going on right now with the 10 of Wands and you're feeling this way. It's temporary. That feeling's going to pass, and then a much better energy is going to come. And here's confirmation of that. All right, so advice from both of these decks for each archetype. Those identifying as masculine archetype, those identifying as feminine. From the Animal Tarot to the masculine. It is Major Arcana card 19, the Sun. Your plans will work out well, bringing you happiness, prosperity, and success. And you'll garner the recognition that your accomplishments so richly deserve. Right? Maybe that is in the area of your finance. I just mentioned that recognition and award and reward was on the horizon with the 3 of Wands reverse showing up. So it could be that for us, or it could be in love. Whatever aspect of your life this is coming up for you. Again, if you are confident, you believe, it all goes toward the law of attraction. That is how you draw these things to yourself. Sun, Major Arcana card. The Sun most directly represents the sign of Sagittarius, the planet Jupiter, which rules it. For the feminine from the Animal Tarot, it is the 2 of Cups, soulmate energy. Told you, you're falling in love or experiencing a deepening of emotion in your current relationships. Marriages or romantic partnerships in distress can still be saved. Don't give up. Or exes can still get back together, be rekindled. Don't give up, right? Friends, family members that had a falling out, had some sort of conflict, can make up. Don't give up. This is also, I'm going to talk about this in a second too, all next week on the Jewish calendar, days of repentance, and forgiveness leading up to Yom Kippur, right? The ultimate holy day that is about forgiveness and apologies and all that, and repentance. For the masculine, the Queen of Cups, she is tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. The Queen of Cups is a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, which is the opposite sign to Virgo, by the way, Pisces. Or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Really guides you to, again, pay attention to your gut, your intuition, information that comes to you. Use it to the best of your ability. And for the feminine, lastly, it is another 7 of Swords. Plans that need revision. More going on than meets the eye and poor timing. I feel this is very literal for some, or maybe most even, since that's the first thing I felt. Very literally plans that need revision. Something that didn't work out. Maybe you had a plan with a loved one or a lover, or both, and it didn't work out the way you'd hoped, or it didn't work out at all. Fix it. You're meant to plan again and for this thing to work out. I hope you guys have enjoyed the general reading. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, share, comment, all that kind of stuff. I try to answer all the questions that I'm asked and, respond to all the comments in general, period. If you're not yet a subscriber, consider becoming one by hitting both the subscribe button and the bell button. And now, again, to those of you who are interested, I'm going to talk about Juno entering Scorpio and a couple other things. On the Christian calendar, there are 2 days that I want to mention this week. The first is the 21st of September, which is also, of course, the fall solstice. So the beginning of fall, the end of summer officially. And we're going to talk about St. Matthew, the apostle, the evangelist. For that, I've gone to www.franciscanmedia.org on my computer here. Matthew was a Jew who worked for the occupying Roman forces, collecting taxes from other Jews. Isn't this funny? I just mentioned taxes before. And I promise you I hadn't thought about Matthew. Anyway, the Romans were not scrupulous about what the tax farmers got for themselves. Hence, the latter, known as publicans, were generally hated as traitors by their fellow Jews. The Pharisees lumped them with sinners. See Matthew 9:11 through 13. So it was shocking to them to hear Jesus call such a man to be one of his intimate followers. Matthew got Jesus in further trouble by having a sort of going away party at his house. The gospel tells us that many tax collectors and, quote, those known as sinners came to dinner. The Pharisees were still more badly shocked. What business did the supposedly great teacher have associating with such immoral people? Jesus' answer was, quote, those who are well do not need a physician, but the sick do. Go and learn the meaning of the words. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. And that was a quote as well. I did not come to call the righteous, but the sinners. Matthew 9:12 through 13. Jesus is not setting aside ritual and worship. He's saying that loving others is even more important. No other particular incidents about Matthew are found in the New Testament. From such an unlucky situation, Jesus chose one of the foundations of the church, a man others, judging from his job, thought was not holy enough for the position. But Matthew was honest enough to admit that he was one of the sinners Jesus came to call. He was open enough to recognize truth when he saw him. And he got up and followed him. Matthew 9:9. That was also a quote. And he got up and followed him. St. Matthew, is the patron saint of accountants, actors, bankers, bookkeepers, tax collectors, and taxi drivers. And so now we'll move on to the 24th, which equals 6. You know how I'm going to talk about, right? I've said many times that Mary's holidays or feast days tend to fall on days that equal 6. And this is no different. Our Lady of Mercy is what we're going to talk about next. And this is from Catholic Saints Info, or CatholicSaints.info rather, I'm sorry. So Our Lady of Mercy is also known as Nuestra Señora de la Merced and Our Lady of Ransom. And she commemorates the foundation of the Mercedian order and the apparition of Our Lady of Ransom. In this appearance, she carried 2 bags of coins. So it sounds like more tax collection and banking and all that kind of stuff. It's so funny that I just mentioned so many of those things. Anyway, she carried these for use in ransoming Christians that had been imprisoned by Moors. On August 10th, in the year 1218, the Mercedian order was legally constituted at Barcelona, Spain, by King James of Aragon, and was approved by Pope Gregory IX. On the 17th of January in the year 1235 is when Pope Gregory made it really, really official. The Mercedarians celebrated their institution on the Sunday nearest to August 1st because it was on August 1st in the year 1218 that the Blessed Virgin showed St. Peter Nolasco the white habit of the order. This custom was approved by the Congregation of Rites on April 4th in the year 1615. On February 22nd, 222, in the year 1696, it was extended to the entire Latin Church, and the date was changed officially to September 24th. Saint Mary, in this capacity, as Our Lady of Mercy, is the patron saint of the Dominican Republic, Delaware in the United States, Bahia Blanca in Argentina, Barcelona, Spain, Barlavento, Venezuela, Candarave, Peru, La Paz, Bolivia, Maute, Chile, Quito in Ecuador, San Juan de Pasto in Argentina, and lastly, Santiago de Cali in Colombia. Oh, I'm sorry, missed one. Also, the Army of Argentina is all the places of which she is the patron. So moving on to the Jewish calendar, I'm just going to mention that the 19th, which fell into last week's reading, was Rosh Hashanah, the first day of Rosh Hashanah, and the first day of repentance, as well as the first day of the month of Tishri, and the beginning of the first day of the year, 5781. I talked about all those things last week, or in the reading for last week. So this week, the 20th through the 26th, and thereafter, actually, all the way through to the 28th, so into next week as well, are days of repentance every single day. So it's like day 1, day 2, day 3, and culminating with the 28th of September, which is Yom Kippur, and day 10 of repentance. Again, I talked about Tishri and Rosh Hashanah last week, so I won't do it again. If you want to look at that, it's in last week's video. And moving on to the planetary or the celestial calendar, this week we have on September 20th, the first day for which this reading is, at 7:19 a.m. Again, Juno enters Scorpio, 0 degrees. September 22nd at 9:30 a.m., the sun enters Libra, also 0 degrees. And September 23rd at 9:55 p.m., the quarter moon, 1 degree Capricorn. And lastly, September 25th at 11:40 a.m., Saturn will be quintile Chiron. So just a tiny snippet about Juno and Scorpio. This is really about a desire to have a super intense relationship with our partner or with a partner, because both Juno and Scorpio are very emotionally and physically charged and intense signs or placements, and they're both very seductive and sort of magnet to each other. So think of Juno as like the female, and Pluto, Scorpio's ruler, as like the masculine or female or feminine, and Pluto, Scorpio's ruler, as like the masculine energy. So think of sort of like mother and father coming together in that respect. And you got Juno in Scorpio, adding a little maybe excitement and togetherness and repentance and forgiveness to your relationships this week, your romantic relationships, and maybe to your soulmate relationships. They are like considered like a soulmate duo. So again, I hope you guys have enjoyed the reading. This part 2. Namaste.